Yay! I'm finally live. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Women's Financial Empowerment Group, our weekly Thursday night book chat. Sorry that we are late, but we had a lot of technical difficulties getting on with the browser just not wanting to open up. So finally, we're on, and I just wanted to welcome you. If you're watching this as a replay, thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel because it really helps out, and share this video with your friends. So did I cover all this stuff? Subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. We seem to be having some technical difficulties still, like with the connection. However, I'm going to go ahead and plow through. I don't have all my usual viewers tonight, so I don't know if there will be a lot of interaction, but I'm just going to go ahead and hopefully you'll enjoy the replay if you didn't get to watch this live. So the book that we are discussing is Smart Women Finish Rich. I know this looks backwards on your screen, but I just wanted you to see what the cover looks like in case you're new here and you have no idea. So this book is written by David, I want to say Bach, like the musician, like the composer. So hopefully that's the way how to pronounce his name. It's B-A-C-H. And tonight we're going to discuss steps 2 and 3 of his program. This program has a total of 8 steps and then a bonus chapter. Last week we covered the introduction and step number 1. So tonight we're going to cover step number 2 and step number 3. Thank you for watching this. And like I said before, if you're new here or if you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, you can like my page. I'd also like you to like this video and share it with your friends, and also leave a comment, especially in the chat. It would be nice to have people to chat with. Like I said, some of my usual visitors or viewers rather are not going to be on. So I hope I won't be too lonely. But nonetheless, the show must go on, and that's what they say in showbiz, right? So I'm going to go ahead and feel free to announce yourself in the chat so I can acknowledge you, either on Facebook or in YouTube. Oh, let me just put my welcome message for my Facebookers. Okay. All right. So starting with step number 2. So I have some notes here, and I'm basically going to go over my notes. If we have people in the chat, then we can interact about what you read or any questions or comments that you may have about the book, so that we can have a conversation going. So this step 2 is put your money where your values are. Okay. And that starts on page 46. So I just wanted to read a tiny bit of what it says here on page 46. It says, so first of all, he uses the purpose-focused financial planning method. What this means is that I help my clients discover what their true values about money actually are. I really like this chapter because I felt that it allowed the reader, to really think a lot about their finances in a way that a lot of people don't. Welcome, Harumi. Nice to have you on. How was your day today? And sorry, I'm wiping my face so much, people. I don't know. It's like 90 degrees here all of a sudden. So I tend to sweat a lot. So I have to fan myself sometimes. But anyway. So again, if you're new here, welcome, and go ahead and subscribe, like, share. So I said subscribe already, all those good things. We're going to go ahead and dive in to this book, Smart Women Finish Rich. And I just explained what the purpose-focused financial planning method is all about. Okay. Okay. How do I? Okay, awesome. All right. I hope that you all had a great day today. Normally there's some chit chat before we get started, but since I don't have a whole lot of people here yet, we'll just we'll just go ahead. But I wanted to again welcome you. I see that there are more people coming on, so I just want to welcome you, and I'm glad that you stopped by, honestly. All right. Okay. So what he says here is that money is a tool to help us achieve a goal. And I like thinking about money in that way, as a tool. Many people think about money in different ways. Hey, I'm glad you had a good day, Harumi. That's awesome. The weather was great. I enjoyed it. Many people think about money in different ways, but I like the idea of thinking of it as a tool, because you need it, right? You need tools to get jobs done, right? So when you think about money that way, you think about, what do you use money for? So it's a tool. So what he says here on page 47, think about it. Your attitudes about money are what define everything that matters about your personal financial situation. How much money you need, how hard you are willing to work for it, how you feel when you finally get it. Okay? So that's important to know. And in this chapter, like I said before, he really digs deep. And I'm not going to read the whole chapter because, no, that's not what we do when we come here. We just discuss what we've already read. So I'm just highlighting some points. So like I said before, if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in the chat, either on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'll answer them, or I'll read them out so that other people can be informed about what you have to share. Okay, so he says, okay, what's important to you about money? What's important about money to you? If the way we handle our money conflicts with our personal values, we're going to wind up living happy. We are not going to end up living happy and fulfilled lives. Now, some of the values, so I think what's commonly done is that people mistake values with goals. So let me just list out some of the values. So security, freedom, ability to have choices, happiness, live a life of meaning, able to do what God wants me to do, more time with family, help others, feel satisfied, feel happy. Those are values. So the key thing that he highlights is that your financial behavior should match up with those values, whatever it is for you. Oh no. Uh-oh. It looks like we got bumped out of Chrome. Okay, if we get disconnected on YouTube, I will definitely start this back up, but we are definitely having issues with Chrome tonight. So let's pray that we hang on in there and that everything runs smoothly. But like I said before, it's been a little bit shaky since I've been trying to get on tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to move quickly so we don't lose any time or any connectivity for some reason. Okay, let's see. On page 55, he shares a sample of a values ladder. So he gives an example of a woman called Jessica, and he goes through the whole process with her, discussing what money means to her, to figure out what her values are. Some of the things that she mentions are security, freedom, no duty constraints, more time with daughter/husband, feeling calmer and happier, not rushing feeling, not rushing/feeling like I have a life, living longer and example to daughter, making a difference, helping others. Okay, so I am just gonna put this out there, and if you want to comment in the chat, that would be awesome. What's important about money to you? Can you share with us like one thing that one value that you have regarding money? I'll go ahead and share while you're typing in the chat. For me, one of the values that I have concerning money is security, because I believe that if I have enough money, then I'll be able to be secure. I wouldn't have to worry about where I'm going to live, what I'm going to eat, all those little things. So whether you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, you can feel free to type whatever you want in the chat to contribute to the conversation. All right. So out of all those values, a lot of people have the same values, but there may be something that I didn't mention that may be a value to you. But the important thing that he highlights here is that you should be aware of what your values are when it comes to money, because it's not the same for everyone, like I said before. All right. Here he said, on page 57, he says, if it's not about returns, what is it about? So just to give you a little bit of backstory. So for some people, money is about just having money, right? Just making sure you have money. But at the end of the day, the money is not serving you if you're just piling it on. There should be a goal. There should be a value tied to it. Would you agree? Like this video or what have you if you agree. Okay, I'm using my, okay. All right, Harumi, awesome. So, if you agree, then go ahead and give this a thumbs up, like, whatever hearts on Facebook. Thanks for coming back. All right. Value. Okay, so he talks about doing value exercise. And I don't want to if, and but too many times, but there I go again. But let me stop with the buts. The reason why I'm a little bit hesitant is because if you've read the book already, or if you're in the process of reading it and you haven't gotten up to this point, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to weed through, and that's what I did in my notes, kind of weed through and get to the important parts, because I don't want to go through every single thing. In this process where he talks about values, he takes you through exercises to identify your values. So value exercises are not just for younger women. And that I definitely wanted to highlight that he says in his book, because I think that sometimes women, when we get to a certain age, we kind of feel like, certain things are just not for us. We're just not at that stage anymore. But he's highlighting it and letting us know that, these value exercises are not just for younger women. So feel free to do them as well. Taking a good look inside yourself can be a worthwhile undertaking no matter what your age, especially in this era of economic boom and record stock prices, when so many of us have become so obsessed with growth figures and rates of return that the point of saving and investing sometimes gets forgotten. So what is your why? Why do you want money? Why are you investing? Why are you saving? Is it just to heap it up, or is there a goal in mind? And that's what he focuses on in this chapter. You must have a goal in mind. Now, he walks us through this exercise on page 60 to 61, and I actually did this exercise. If you did it, please, let us know what you thought about it. It's create your own values ladder. Again, if you did it, please let us know that you did it. Like this video, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, so that other people will know about this, because I thought it was wonderful. So he takes us through all these steps of how to create our values ladder, starting off by relaxing and then answering some questions. And I'm not going to go through each and every step, but what I liked was when he talks about going up each rung. So you start at the bottom. And I'll just tell you, number 4 says, now we need a little more perspective on the values you've listed. So after you've listed the values, then we dig a little bit deeper. Because the value you choose means different things to different people, ask yourself, what's important about, and I'll fill in the blank with security, like I shared before, to me. So what's important about security to me? Write your answer on the next rung up the ladder. So it just goes on, and you get to fill it in. And for me, I thought it was very eye-opening. Some of these things I have thought about before, but I felt like some of it I haven't. So it really made me dig a little deeper. I listed a few goals before. I mean, not goals, sorry. I listed some values before based on conversations that he has had with different women. And on page 62, he lists some examples of values. And this list has more things than before. So I'm just going to mention them so you can just kind of record it in the back of your mind as we move forward in the chapter. So freedom, security, happiness, peace of mind, power, helping others, helping family, realizing my true potential, that's self-actualization, greater spirituality, connection with others, independence, fulfillment, confidence, being the best, making a difference, fun, growing, adventure. So, like I said before, everybody's values are different. So you might have some values that he did not mention. But what's important about money to you? That's what you need to keep in mind. And as you go through the steps in his book, I believe that it will be an eye-opener for you. Now, he also talks about goals. So I also want to list the sample of goals that he has on page 84. If you have the book, obviously you've read this or will read this. But if you don't have the book, at least you'll have an idea. So here are some goals. And you'll see the difference between values and goals. Pay down debt, have $1 million, not run out of money, pay for college, buy a house, travel. Travel is a goal. What traveling does for you is the value. I bring this up because travel is mentioned quite often in values conversations. That's what he says. Get a new car, redecorate, retire rich, donate money, tithing, put money in my retirement account, not work. I like that one almost. Start my own business, put my child through college, get divorced, get married, stay married. And I'll just read his little note about that. Money affects marriages, no question about it. But contrary to what many people believe, it's not how much money you have that matters. It's how you communicate and make decisions about your money that determines whether financial issues will bring you together as a family or drive you apart. Can I get an amen, somebody? I really believe that too. Because you could have a whole lot of money and be miserable. And you can have a little bit of money and be happy. It's all a matter of what type of communication you have with your spouse or partner or what have you about how you're going to spend the money. That's what I believe, at least. Okay? So we're going to move on. And like I said before, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the chat. And, like this video and all that good stuff. All right. Okay, so now we're at the end of step 2. And he says, congratulations, you have completed step 2. So what was step 2? Creating that values ladder for yourself. I highly, highly recommend you get this book. And I highly recommend you do that activity. I did that activity because I felt like I wanted to get that firsthand experience of what it would be like to do it so that I could encourage someone else to try it. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me and I can share more about my experience with that. So the thing to remember about this step is that we have you look closely at your values for a very particular reason. Knowing what's important about money to you not only makes it possible to plan your future intelligently, it also makes it easier to stick to your plan. Hmm. Once they know what Once they know what their values are, people will do more to protect them than just about anything else in the world. I mean, imagine that. If your value is that you want to be able to provide for your family and you really think that in your head, what are you going to do? You're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you get that done. You're going to protect that. So, in that way, you can see how values drive what you do. Values are what we believe in, they are what motivate us and shape us. I hope that was helpful to you. Step two. Like I said, I jumped around a bit because, we try not to stay too long on these chats. And I definitely encourage you to read the book. And I'll show you the cover again if you're just coming on. It's Smart Women Finish Rich. I know it's probably backwards on your screen, but I just wanted you to see what the cover looks like because he has redone this book a few times. But there's a lot of value in this book, I believe, so far reading it. Some of the books that we do in these book chats I've read previously, and some of them I haven't. But for this book, I've seen tons of reviews and read snippets of it before. So I'm actually going through this book with you. And that's why I really want to get people's feedback and everything like that because we're doing it together. All right, next step, step 3. And stick around to the end so that I can, give you my announcements. Okay? And go ahead and like this video, like my Facebook page, share, do all the wonderful things that you do because, I really appreciate it and it's free. You don't have to pay anything. Okay, so step number 3, figure out where you stand financially and where you want to go. Sounds pretty simple, right? I thought so too. All right, I'm going to turn to my notes for step 3. Harumi, you doing okay over there in Facebook land? All right. Okay, so let's look at page 68. And again, I'm not going to read through everything, but there were certain points that I felt it's best to just read it from the book, and I have my notes there. When it comes to planning their finances, a lot of people plunge into all sorts of detail about what they want to accomplish, what investment they should buy, and where they want to be, without first making sure they know where they stand now. Just imagine that. So awesome. Great. Glad you're with us. So just think about it. You go to the grocery store, you say you want to buy milk, eggs, bread, cheese, cereal, but you don't first check and see that you have enough money in your wallet to buy those things. Oops, what did I do? Okay. So think about that. How many things do you think you're going to be able to buy if you're not sure how much money you have? I mean, I don't know about your wallet. You might have enough to buy all those things without looking, but it is possible that you might end up going over if you don't know how much money you have in your wallet, right? So the same thing with your overall finances. If you make goals for yourself, but you don't know what you already have, how can you get to those goals? How can you achieve those goals? It's just like you're traveling somewhere, right? If you don't know how to get there, or you don't have what it takes to get there, how are you going to get there? you know? So let's see, what was my note about that? Okay, so there's a question here that I wanted to read. He says in this part, where is your money? Are your finances organized? That is a very good question. Do you have an organized filing system in which all your financial documents can be found easily? I'm not asking you. I'm just reading from the book. But if you want to answer, go ahead and answer. Because that's an important question, ladies. If you want to get your financial house in order, you have to know what you have in your house, right? Can't arrange your house and organize it if you don't know where things are or where they go. Or have you left all that stuff to your spouse or your accountant? If you're working, do you know how the money in your company pension plan is invested? Okay, Harumi says not really. Not really in terms of having it organized or not knowing. Okay, so the first question was, do you have an organized filing system? So were you saying not really about that? All right, so I will make sure to look at your answer. All right. So so then he says, if have you left that organized? Okay, so not really organized. And believe it or not, that is very, very common. Most I don't like to use most people because I don't know most people in the world, but what financial advisors are finding that a lot of people are not organized with their finances, don't have everything neatly arranged. Awesome. Thank you for that, Harumi. You are not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. It's very common. Or have you left all that stuff up to your spouse or your accountant? I remember us talking about in a previous video about us taking responsibility. Actually, that was last week, wasn't it, Harumi? Where we talked about women taking responsibility for our own finances. Even if we're in a marital situation, you still things are where they need to be, all that good stuff. It's not all about just leaving it for someone else. If you're working, do you know how the money in your company pension plan is invested? Most people don't know. Most people just allow money to be taken out and put wherever. But have you ever stopped to ask HR, like, where's my money going? Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to belabor that point, but as you can see, he wouldn't ask those questions if it wasn't something that's really important. And he gives an example of a man that came to him, actually a couple, and they had all this stuff going on, so many accounts and whatnot. They didn't know where everything was, and it took them quite a while to wrangle up all the accounts and figure out where everything is. At the end of the book, in Appendix 2, and this is another reason why I advise you to really buy the book, is that there's different resources within the book that you can use. So in Appendix 2, he has the Finish Rich Inventory Planner. And you can print that out and you can use it. I mean, you could definitely use it in the book, but I don't know. I like to just copy stuff and blow it up a little bit bigger, but you could definitely write in the book if it's your book. So I believe that could be very helpful. But he recommends doing that inventory after reading the book. So don't start yet. That's his recommendation. All right, getting organized is one of the keys to financial security. Imagine that. It is one of the keys to financial security. So if you want to be financially secure, one of the first things you must do is become organized with your finances. Because again, how can you organize it if you don't know where everything is or what you have? You have to sort that out. Okay? So there are steps involved that he shares. So the first step, the first job, he says, is to find your stuff. Figure out where everything is. Where do you have your money? What are the bank accounts? What are the investments? all that good stuff. Because like I said, again, there are some people that really don't know where everything is. You've accumulated things over the years, and have not kept track. I have a video that I posted on my channel that I literally had to laugh at myself for leaving money in a bank in another state that I couldn't really easily access and forgot all about it. And that was a mess. So head over to my channel and you'll see some of my oops videos. But if after the video, I will link it. I will link it in the description so that you can take a look and laugh at me and, whatever. But it was a hot mess. But I was able to work things out. Okay, so don't do like me. Don't forget where your stuff are. But it's very common that you could have a lot of accounts and what have you and have kind of like lost track. So first step, find your stuff. Figure out where everything is. Figure out where all your bank accounts, investments, all that good stuff, where all that stuff is. If you have things hidden under your mattress, all that stuff. Anyway, then after that, you're going to want to start what he calls a finish rich file folder system. So that's trademarked, by the way. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is purchase a bunch of folders. And and I've written out all the ones that he mentions that you can have, that you should have. Okay, so folder number 1, label it tax returns. So again, you're going to have all these folders, and what we're going to talk about is what's going to be on each label. So I took the liberty of writing these out. Obviously, they're in the book, but I kind of like to have notes sometimes. I don't really want to read from the book straight away sometimes. Anyway, have a folder. That's the first folder should be marked tax returns, and you have a copy of your tax return stuff that you need, W-2, 1099s, what have you. Next one, retirement accounts. Then the next one, Social Security. And again, if you weren't here last week or you didn't read the book yet, he advises us to go to My Financial Security and sign up for an account. The website is www.ssa.gov/myaccount/ because you don't want to wait until retirement time to figure out what you're going to get from Social Security, if anything. You don't want any surprises. So you definitely want to set up an account so you can get information ahead of time about that. Okay, next folder, investment accounts. The 5th folder, savings and checking accounts. And he says, if you have separate checking and savings accounts, create separate file folders for them. Keep your monthly bank statements here. Excuse me. 6th one, household accounts. So like your house title, home improvement stuff, anything that has any like major documents that have to do with your home. The 7th one, credit card debt. And he says, make sure you capitalize the word debt, so it stands out and bothers you every time you see it. I don't know about you, but I would be bothered regardless of whether I wrote it in all caps or not. But anyway, the next one, the 8th folder, other liabilities. And I'll just read this so you can have some clarity on what that is. In here go all of your records dealing with debts other than your mortgage and your credit card accounts. These would include college loans, car loans, personal loans, etc. Each debt should have its own folder, which should contain the loan notes and your payment records. Next, folder number 9, your insurance information. And that is all insurance information, life insurance, car insurance, you name it. That should all be in the insurance folder. The 10th folder, family will and trust. So you definitely want to have a copy of your most recent will or living trust. and the business card for your attorney. And just imagine how much easier that would be if someone passes away or someone is ill, whether you or your partner or spouse or what have you, and all of this is organized. Wow. I mean, I can't imagine it being this easy. Well, I can't imagine it, but just imagine how easy it would be just for them to be able to just go in and find the information and be able to do what needs to be done. Anyway, next folder, children's accounts. So if you have children, you want to have their information in there. It should hold all statements and other records pertaining to college savings accounts or other investments that you have made for your kids. And the final folder, you'll put Finish Rich Inventory Planner, and that's where you're going to put the inventory that's at the back of the book in Appendix 2. You're going to have it in that section. And okay, so that was a lot. That's a lot of folders, but I believe that there's a lot of value in that, because when you want to get something done, you really ought to be as organized as possible to get it done more efficiently. Okay, so if you're a part of a couple, so if you're not a single woman watching this, if you're a part of a couple, just know that, you know, you may have to tell your spouse, what you're doing. You read this book or what have you. So David advises not to be pushy about it or, beat them over the head, but just explain nicely what's going on and what have you, and try to get them on board with it. And he also recommends that if they're not really interested in this book because of the title, because it really speaks to women, that you could direct them to the website, and then there's some chapters of his book, Smart Couples Finish Rich, and you can read it together there, or just have your husband, partner, whatever, read it. In the event your family already has someone who helps to manage your money, such as a financial advisor or an attorney or an accountant, then I strongly suggest that you make an appointment to meet with that person. And he advises that you fill out the inventory and take it with you. And it will make that conversation so much easier, smoother, because it'll be easier for that person to help you. If they can see all your stuff, know where everything is, they can help you with your plan. And as a financial coach, I can tell you that would be awesome. Just to be able to have everything lined out, folder by folder would be a dream, because we can better serve you if you're organized. But no worries if you're not, but I definitely suggest that you get organized. He talks about successful people. So he starts off with this question. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to have it all? They seem to just have everything together. They just seem like, they got it made, right? They got it, everything organized. It's everything done great. Well, the answer, he believes, lies in the fact that for the most part, successful people have specific goals. Okay? Specific goals. And he talks about Napoleon Hill, who is the author of Think and Grow Rich, which I have read that book, and that is one of the books that we will be covering, because I think that it's a really good book. And so according to Napoleon Hill, to achieve your dreams, you have to focus on what you want your life to be about. He called this developing definiteness of purpose. And I've been hearing a lot about that recently. A friend of mine has been posting a lot about that lately. I'm sorry, it looks like something has attacked my eye. This is one of my favorites, super book, Harumi. Yes, Harumi says that's one of her favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. And we are going to be covering that book because there's a lot of value in that book. All right, so what are goals? And feel free to share in the chat if you know the answer to that question. What are goals? My eyes itchy all of a sudden. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So, according to DPS, morning and night read twice. Oh, Harumi says for definiteness of purpose, morning and night read twice a day with emotions. So you read your purpose twice a day with emotions. Is that what you mean? Okay. Okay. So I'm waiting for Harumi to respond, and then I will read that. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and read what it says here. The dictionary defines a goal as the purpose toward which an endeavor is directed. And Harumi says yes. You read your purpose, you read your definiteness of purpose morning and night, read twice with emotions. Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Read aloud to your read aloud so you can hear it, right? Read aloud to right to your heart. Read aloud to your heart. Okay. And mind. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing that, Harumi. She's very motivational. Okay. All right. So the dictionary defines a goal as the purpose toward which an endeavor is directed. A goal must be specific. It doesn't say that in dictionary, but a goal must be specific. So here's let's see, what did I write here? Okay, and he shares about a story which I have actually heard before, and if you have too, feel free to comment about it. The story of Jim Carrey. Does everyone know about Jim Carrey? He's a famous comedian, and he's been in so many movies. He's a funny guy, and so he wrote a $10 million check to himself that he was able to cash because he had a goal that he was going to make a certain amount. Oops, Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. Knocked over my phone. All right. So his goal was to make a certain amount of money, and he was very specific about it, and he was able to make that money. So the key thing is to be very specific about your goal. It's not a matter of just saying, "Oh, I want to do this," or "Oh, I'm going to do this," but you need to be very specific. So David talks about the Smart Women Finish Rich Quantum Leap System. So it's a system of, you said face down. What do you mean by face down, Harumi? Do you mean what just happened with my phone falling over? Because, yeah, my phone took a backflip on my desk. So sorry about that. All right, so in this system that he describes, there are rules associated with setting a goal. Okay, so this is how to form a goal. So please pay attention, take notes, what have you. My crash. What I meant was your crash. Okay, all right. So rule number one: until it's written down, it's not a goal; it's a slogan. So you must write your goal down. Number two: goals must be specific, measurable, provable. So here's an example of what not to do when setting a goal. I want to be wealthy in the year 2022. That is not an example of a well written goal. Instead, how about this? I will put aside 10% of my gross income every month for the next 36 months, at which time I will have a minimum of $48,000 in a pre tax retirement account. So, see how specific that is? You see how you can measure that because you could see how much money is in the account and you can prove it, right? So that's what you want your goal to be: specific, measurable, and provable. The next rule: take some immediate action within the next 48 hours to start moving toward your goal. So what can you do right away towards the goal that you have? Harumi says that sounds super. Yeah, I believe it is super, because a lot of people say that they have goals or they want to set goals, but they're not really sure how to set goals. And when they set a goal, it's not a goal that they will really achieve because they haven't made it specific, memorable, and provable. It really does make a big difference. And I just want to pause here for a second, Betty, again, as new people come or you watch the replay. Just want to welcome you to Women's Financial Empowerment Group. This is our weekly book chat. We are discussing Smart Women Finish Rich by David Bach. Hopefully that's how you pronounce his last name. And we are going over right now step number 3. We're about to finish off. Okay? So we're talking about goal setting. And please go ahead and like this video on YouTube and share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't already. And you can go ahead and like my Facebook page as well. So, whatever immediate action you can take within the next 48 hours, go ahead and do that, because if you're moving, then you can get to your goal. But if you never take action, there's no way you can get to that goal. Thank you for the hearts and likes and all that stuff. Thank you. All right. Rule number 4. Once you have written down your goals, put them someplace where you can see them every day. For me, I like to write my goals on sticky notes and stick them on my office wall, because I look there every day and I can see it. On my other wall, I have children's drawings, but on my productivity wall, I have all of my goals on sticky notes and stuck there. So I can see them every single day, what it is that I want to achieve, what it is that I'm going to achieve if I follow certain steps. So you want to write it and put it where you can find it every day. Thank you again for joining me. If you're just coming on, go ahead and like this video, share it, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Now we're on rule number 3 of goal setting. Nope, rule number 5, sorry. Share your goals with someone you love and trust. What I like about that is that it builds accountability, right? So it's not enough to just say to yourself, hey, I'm going to achieve this certain goal, that like the one that I just read to you a few minutes ago. But when you tell someone else, not only do you get like the support, but also accountability. So the person could come back and say to you, hey, how's it going with that goal? Okay, so that's rule number 5. And I'm running through these so that we can wrap up in the next few minutes. Okay? Only you know what you can do. So when you set a goal, it has to be something that you can actually do. Rule number 6, develop goals that fit in with your values. Remember before we talked about all the values when it comes to money, like security, being able to provide for certain people, being able to give to charity, whatever your goals, whatever your financial values are, money values are, your goals should line up with those values, okay? Rule number 7, review your goals at least once every 12 months. Obviously, if you're going to have shorter term goals, you're going to want to review them more often. But every 12 months is really great. Once every 12 months is great for long-term goals, because sometimes you might have to tweak things, and sometimes you have to throw out goals or add something to it or what have you. But again, like I said previously with rule number 2, you want to make sure your goals are specific, measurable, and provable. And feel free to share in the chat if you have any comments about that, because I really believe that that's awesome. Hello, hi Kamal, thanks for joining us. So that wraps it up as far as goals go. So then he says, let's get started. And then the rest of this chapter is all about digging deep and getting those goals written. So he has a ton of supportive resources in this book. Please, if you haven't bought the book, I highly suggest you buy the book. I just love it when there are books that have like worksheets and all this other stuff, because I believe that that's going to be a really great value to you. So go ahead and purchase this book. And next week, we will cover steps 4 and 5. And again, if you're new here, we meet every Thursday night for this book chat. And we are covering this book, Smart Women Finish Rich by David Bach. Hopefully that's the pronunciation of his name. I'm pronouncing it like the composer, so hopefully I'm right about that. And we just completed step number 3. Next week, we will cover week number 4 and week number 5. If you're wondering where you can get this book, you can get it at, I found this on Amazon. It's not available on Audible, so forget about that. A friend of mine, she got her copy from the library. She has an older copy. So you could just look around for it. It might be in a bookstore near you. Kamal says 5. Do you mean what step? What do you mean? What do you mean 5? Can you explain what you mean by that, please? Thank you. And so anyway, we're about to wrap this up. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Of course, as you may know or may not know, I'm a financial coach. So I'm here to help you with whatever organizing you need to do with your finances, get your financial house in order. Go ahead and see my information in the description box. I also have some videos linked there about budgeting and other things. So that will do it for us for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. It was so wonderful having you. And I hope that this information is valuable and that you're able to join us again next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care, everybody. I'm Ruth, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.